Hey there, Life Hackers. Garrick here, co-founder of Life Hacks Magazine. And in this video, I want to show you an interview I had with Kaylin Bruce. Now, Kaylin is the creator of one of the top finance blogs in the country, MoneyMiniBlog.com. And what he specializes in is giving you the tactics, the tips and tricks, the life hacks to allow you to get out of debt, to start acquiring wealth, and really just stick one to the banks. In this interview, we talk about why most Americans are broke and what you can do to avoid that. We talk about how to automate the debt curing process so you can start getting out of debt automatically and really effortlessly. Because why use your willpower when there's an app for that? Why use your willpower when we have technology, when we're living in the 21st century? We talk about how to use failure to your advantage and how to start setting up failure goals so you can stay motivated and stick to your goals till the very end so that you can really start curing your debt permanently this time. So you can really start hitting your goals this time. We talk about all that and much, much more. So I hope you enjoy and stay tuned. Hello there, Life Hackers. Garrick here, and today I have the great pleasure of talking with Kaylin Bruce. Now, Kaylin is an expert in the personal finance industry, and personally the only millennial that I know who is an expert in the personal finance industry. But more than that, he's an expert in the art of productivity, the art of getting more done with less time and less stress. But what he really is, he's an expert at getting control of your finances, getting control of your time, getting control of your work, and really just getting control of your life. And he's also the brains behind the website MoneyMiniBlog.com. So, Kaylin, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, Money Mini Blog's about 2 years old. Um, that was my first real personal blog. So I've been freelance writing for a while, but actually starting on my own project, Money Mini Blog was the first. Um, I'm married with 4 children. Recently adopted two of them, um, and I'm active duty military, United States Air Force. So I got that going on too, on top of freelance writing and trying to find a way to take care of 4 children.
All right. So, here at Life Hackers, we try to find the best mix for effort versus output ratio. So if you were to suggest one thing for our life hackers to improve their finances, and probably in today's life, just looking at the trend of the economy, probably get out of debt specifically, what would be the number one tip that you would suggest?
Number one, for sure, I would say automation. I would say automate you can have an entire automated financial system easily. It's as simple as automating all your payments, automating every single area of your budget you can, so that you can, reduce your actual budget. Like our budget is maybe a few $100s a month. I think it's $500 a month is what we actually budget every month, based on the, $3,000-4,000 that we're earning. Everything else is automated. So our investments, our mortgage on our rental property, our rent on our house, if we had car payments, anything like that. And that's the exact way that we got out of debt, was automation. So we did debt snowball. You can do debt avalanche, either way.
Can you
But
explain those two terms?
Yeah, absolutely. Snowball is what we did. That's basically just listing all your debts, starting with the smallest payment, monthly payment, all the way down to the largest, which would usually be your mortgage. So basically, you're just paying that smallest payment, and you put everything you can towards that small payment. So whenever you're working extra jobs, getting extra income, doing whatever you can, you put everything towards that smallest payment. Once you pay that off, you take the amount you were paying on that payment and start putting it on the next item on top of all of the rest of the payments that that you've been putting towards it. So it really snowballs and kind of it really is a snowball to pay off everything as fast as you can. For us, it was because we had 15, 20 different debts, different debtors that we were paying. So we got those small wins in the beginning. You know, you pay off the $400 debt, and then you pay off the $600 debt. Those are usually the ones with the lower payments. So we got those small wins. Now the debt avalanche is similar, except you order things from highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. So you'll actually save more money 9 times out of 10, pretty much every time, if you do the debt avalanche, because you're going to be paying less interest overall because you're getting the high interest knocked out first. But a lot of people prefer the snowball method because of the small wins in the beginning. It's easier to stick with. But either way, whichever method you use, you can automate it. You know, you automate all of your bills to be paid, pay the minimum payment on everything except the highest interest if you go with the avalanche, or the smallest payment if you go with the snowball. So you can actually set credit card payments, student loan payments. You can set to pay the minimum plus however much extra, and then once you pay off that, whatever the first debt is you're trying to pay off, you go in there and you have to change your automation, and you can set the next payment. You can add the payment to it, and whatever extra you can, so that every month, if you're paying off that $20 minimum payment, you can schedule it to pay the $20 minimum payment plus an extra $300 or whatever, and then once you pay off that in full, you go to the next one, and so on and so forth, and you're automatically debt free, and that's exactly how we did it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I remember at one point listening to Ramit Sethi at howtoberiich.com, and he was saying that he's like a multimillionaire, and he teaches people personal finance, but he says that he only does, you know him, but he says he only does 1 hour per month actually working on all of his investments, all of his savings. He just does 1 hour per month, saying everything else is automated. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, from the very top, it's used. And I really like automation because, people are always trying to change their lives with effort, with doing, and if you can set it up so that things are just done automatically, so that you don't even have to think about it, there's no willpower involved. I think that's where a lot of people get snagged.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it's been a long time, but I read an article about, I think it was called "Why Discipline is No Longer Required for Building Wealth" or something like that. But it's basically what you're saying. It's you don't even have that excuse anymore of, oh, I'm not disciplined enough to do that, because you can set it up. I mean, like I was saying earlier, every single month my investments, all of my payments are made. All of my investments come out. I mean, from my kids' college to my retirement to my I have other various investments for different things, different reasons, and they all come out every month. And that's just how I prioritize it. They're the first priority as far as my finances are concerned, and I'm not going to touch them. If something happens and I have to go get a second job for 2 days to feed the family for whatever reason, if some chaos happens, I would do that, but I'm not going to touch those automatic investments no matter what. I mean, it's kind of that's what's going to stay. They're going to keep coming out month after month. What you said about him with the "I Will Teach You to Be Rich," that's a great book on automation and finances. I think Jay Money over at my buddy at budgetsaresexy.com, he actually told me about that initially, and then who was it? Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss's podcast is probably my favorite podcast right now, and they're good friends. So yeah, that's another great resource.
Yeah, Tim Ferriss is really good. Has some really good stuff. If we're just getting in the nitty gritty of it, for like if somebody doesn't know where to start or where to start looking when they're thinking about automation, like it's somewhat of a nebulous term for some people.
Yeah.
Where would you suggest to start? Like what tools, kind of a nitty gritty tactical level? What kind of things would you suggest as first steps for automation?
First steps for automation. I mean, I Will Teach You to Be Rich is a great book to read. I have articles on Money Mini Blog about automation. I think I have some articles on CNAfinance.com about automation. It's the main place to start is it's really as simple as writing down every single payment you have, debt, payment, everything, and just go down the list and figure out what you can automate. Figure out, okay, I have rent. Can I automate that? Well, I pay rent to a little old lady who lives in the house behind me, so I don't know if I can automate that. But then well, can you go through your bank? Because usually with your bank, online banking, you can almost always set up a business or an individual, and you can have a check sent automatically every month, whether that's for rent or another bill, or even if you owe somebody money. You can automatically have that sent every month. So almost everything you can automate. I mean, down to at my church, my monthly giving, my tithe every month, it's all automated. I have it automatically come out of my account. So I know I'm going to give and I'm going to invest whether I want to or not. It's
I don't,
automatically going to happen.
I don't know why. I've never thought of that, of setting up an automatic charity to your local church. I've never thought of that for some reason. That's really
Right.
that's really unique. I like that. And
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think that what a lot of people have trouble with automation is that they might not know where to get started. But giving the example of it's a little old lady that lives behind my house. Um, Talk to your bank advisor. They can set it up basically for you. They can tell you what to do, how to do it.
Exactly.
Even if it's something you don't know how to do, you can just figure it out. Ask for help because the bank will help you with that. They'll set it up
Right.
pretty much for you. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really powerful stuff. Um, so that's some really great information. And now, kind of taking a step back from one particular hack, and automation is a fantastic one. In life hacks, we want to give our life hackers the best tactics, the best strategies for improving their lives. But moving behind the tips and tricks, you're an expert I respect deeply, both an expert in personal finance and productivity, and in a lot of areas. And I would love to hear, what's the best piece of advice you wish you had while growing up? What's the best piece of advice that you could give our life hackers?
Um, the best piece of advice that I wish I had growing up, I'll kind of split it in two here because I'll say financially, um, and this seems like an obvious one now, looking at kids today, but I would just say to beware of credit cards. I
Yeah.
grew up with I grew up with parents who were pretty much spent money on credit cards like it was free money, and so I grew up thinking that it was normal. You use credit cards, and I've been through a whole cycle. I started getting credit cards. I started realizing how easy it was to rack up the money, and they increased my credit limits, and I went on and on. Got tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and then I figured out what I did wrong, paid off all my debt, and now I use credit cards for everything, and we have a reward system. My wife and I have a reward system set up to where we can get the most rewards for every purchase on credit cards, and I think credit cards are an amazing thing if you pay them off every single month without fail. And I guess that would be my money tip, would be watch out for credit cards. Know what you're doing, know how to use them responsibly. But for my overall, just like life hack, life tip in general, it would be to utilize failure. Um, learn from failure and don't see it as a bad thing. I was kind of grew up with the mindset of thinking that you fail, you made a mistake, and something bad's going to happen because of that. So don't do that again because you don't want something bad to happen. Versus
Yeah.
learn from that. Like it's like, yeah, you don't want to do that again because you don't want that bad thing to happen. As a child, whatever, you get in trouble. As an adult, you make way more mistakes than you did as a child doing anything with your life, you know. So um, we, but learning from your mistakes, that's just something I wasn't taught. I think it's really valuable. We instill that in our children. You know, making mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. It's actually a good thing, and you can learn from them. That's something that I wasn't really taught as a child.
Yeah, I think when you're thinking about failure, you gotta realize that if you're going after anything big in life, you're just gonna fail a hell of a lot more than you're gonna succeed.
Right.
You're always gonna have about a 70 to 80% failure rate and maybe 20 to 10% success rate if you're lucky. But the truth is,
Exactly.
you only have to succeed once. You know, and then you can go to the pay window. If you only succeed once in this business, or only succeed once in finding the right soulmate for you, or only succeed once, then you've made it. And I think that
Exactly.
if you're going to increase your failure rate, then you automatically will rack up more successes. And you only need one. So that's a really
Right.
powerful idea. And going
Right.
back,
You're actually well, just to piggyback off that, like with the failure thing, I've actually set goals. I've actually set failure goals before.
oh really?
I'm a big advocate of it. Yeah. So like if I, you know, if I'm going to go out and submit writing, if I'm trying to get picked up by bigger websites with my writing, something like that, for example, I'll set a failure goal to get 20 rejections a month or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
it just whatever the goal is. So you know, because I mean, you can't guarantee that you're going to have successes. You could have thousands and thousands of rejections without successes, but you can guarantee if you submit to enough people, you are going to have rejections. So if you submit to enough websites with writing, just as an example, to get 20 rejections, then you know your odds of, you know, say that generally you get 20 rejections for every 5 or 10 exceptions, you know, whatever the case is. But the acceptance rate's, you know, always going to be much lower, just in everything. That's just how it works. But yeah, I think that's just an interesting thing, especially for people in sales, is to set a goal to get X amount of rejections. That not only will it make it easier for you to understand how beneficial rejections are and for you to get rejected, but you know you're going to have a lot of successes along the way. It just happens.
Yeah, and it's also kind of piggybacking off of that. I think that with psychologically, one of the easiest ways to look at rejection is to say, okay, so I have probably like a 10% success rate in this area. And if you succeed, hopefully you're going to get a rather big return on that. It's like in business. Okay, this business only has like a 20% chance of success. Then if I just do 5 businesses over my entire lifetime, just one after the other, one of those 5 is going to generate the income for me for the rest of my life. And once you kind of realize that it's not whether this is going to succeed and fail, whether this is going to succeed or fail, and then, you know, each one is, you know, I have to do this again if it fails. It's more, you know, you're going to have to do it 5 times, but then if you do it 5 times, you're going to never have to work again in your life, or you're gonna be able to give all this money to your family, to your children, or, you know, whatever your goal is. But if you can look
Right.
at it that way, often people are like, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, I could do this, you know, 4 times, 3 times, 5 times if I had to. And once you just look at it as a complete package, it's not too bad. It's life
Right.
is a lot easier if you look at it the right way.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and actually, I just kind of want to go back with the credit card thing. Um, Credit cards are interesting because psychologically they're short term. Like, okay, I just got this car, like, sweet. But if you pay something with a credit card, something that costs $20 is going to cost you $100 over the long term, and I think that's where most people get screwed up with making the credit card payments over a long term. They just don't realize that, no, this is costing me $100. It's a big markup. So
Right.
I just wanted to add that actually.
Oh no. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we're almost running out of time, but I want to squeeze in a few more questions.
Okay.
Looking at your website, you suggest something called Paladin, and it's a like for financial advisors. It's how to get a financial advisor, right? Um,
Yes.
who do you think are the kind of people who should get a financial advisor? Actually,
Well, I think I think anyone should look into it. I think anyone should, pretty much every financial advisor. Well, I wouldn't say that. See, the thing, I'll tell you this. The thing I like about Paladin is that they, you put in your information. All you have to do is, you go in and you fill out your information, and then they contact you. Um, they contact you regardless of how much money you have to invest. Most investment firms, and like you say, when you talk about getting a financial advisor, most investment firms aren't going to talk to you if you have less than $100,000 in investable assets.
Mhm.
That's that's pretty typical to find. And the thing about Paladin, the reason why I'm such a big advocate for them is because if you put in that I have $1,000 or $500 in investable assets, someone will contact you. They'll let you know what they can do for you, and if you decide, well, it's not going to be worth it for me, I only have $500, I can only really do one thing, stuff like that. I think everyone should really look into it. Don't be sold on anything.
Yeah.
Don't let them talk you into anything. But definitely look into it, I would say.
All right, that's good to hear because the real question is it worth getting a financial advisor at my you know level financially? And you're saying that pretty much
Right.
at any level you can use Paladin. So that's really
Yeah,
good.
at Paladin you can. I mean, there's a lot of free articles on the internet if you don't have a whole lot of investable assets and you're just looking to get started. But Paladin is awesome because you don't have to have like a minimum before they'll talk to you.
That's fantastic. Um, so the last question, kind of piggybacking off of like the mind shift with failures as my last question. What mind shifts, like different ways of looking at finances, different ways of looking at productivity, life, do you think most people need to make in order to really cross that boundary and get control of their bank accounts, or just get control
Oh
of
man.
their life?
I mean that's what it's all about is mindset. It's all about mindset shifts. I mean, the number one piece of advice I would give myself whenever I was in my early 20s probably is stop trying to impress people. The keeping up with the Joneses, you can call it what you want. The Joneses are broke. They don't have any more money than you do.
I
I
like
mean,
that
that's
a lot.
yeah, I mean, seriously, the Joneses are the ones making 100,000 or making $1,000 car payments every month. Which that's another thing is vehicles. I think vehicles keep people broke. Because yeah, that's where a lot of the mindset shift needs to happen is in terms of spend the money you have, spend what you earn. Don't spend less than you earn. And if you have to finance it, you can't afford it. Now, I understand a home mortgage. You can finance that if you want to. That still means you can't afford it if you have to finance it. Same thing with a vehicle. If you have to finance it, you can't afford it. But there are circumstances, and I understand that where you need to. But yeah, I would say the big shift is stop trying to impress people because honestly, they don't care about you. I mean, you're trying to impress people with all your things, and at best, people are going to be envious and say, "Oh, I want that." They're not going to be thinking, this person's so awesome because they drive a 2015 Land Rover, whatever it is. I think we have a different perception of what people actually think about us and what we feel like they think about us whenever we
Yeah.
bought that brand new car or whatever. We definitely have an inaccurate view of how people view us because honestly, most people are thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about you anyways, just like you're thinking about yourself whenever you're in that situation, thinking about how awesome people are going to think you are with that new car. So I think that's the big mindset is stop trying to impress people, spend less than you make. Um, and I would just say that vehicles are such a big one, just because I know vehicles. I know so many people who are staying broke because of vehicles, and it's
Yeah.
because they think that you have to have a car payment, and they think you have to have a brand new car.
Yeah.
That's a big one for Americans.
And just
Big one.
kind of go around cars. I remember seeing on your website actually you have a really great article about how to get a car cheaply, and it's a used car, but it's it's a good article. If you need a car then you don't need that brand new expensive car. You can get it without hurting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
and I think that's a great line to end on. The Joneses are broke. I love that. So thank you, Kaylin. It's been fantastic. And unless you have any closing statements, I think we're good.
No, I think that's it. Thanks for giving me the time to, thanks for giving me the interview. I appreciate it. Appreciate talking to everybody. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll catch you later. Bye.
All right.